Vice has a really incredible story out about a new health issue that was totally off our collective radar. Quote, a new study published last week says boys who were exposed to high levels of a chemical found in plastic products in the womb are being born with genital problems, including smaller penises. Now, normally, I would crack some sort of a tiny dick joke here, but that would be wrong of me because, as you're about to see, and I'll explain to you, the situation is worse than just that. In fact, it's very bad. Quote, the study titled Prenatal Phthalate Exposures and Anogenital Distance in Swedish Boys focused on a compound called diisononyl phthalate, or DINP, which was recently adopted as a substitute for another shunned chemical called diethylhexyl phthalate. However, apparently DINP is just as bad as what it's replacing. The World Health Organization issued a warning in 2012 about these chemicals, saying that children who are exposed to them in the womb may be at increased risk for, quote, endocrine-related cancers, behavioral and learning problems, including ADHD, infections, asthma, and perhaps obesity and diabetes, in addition to hormone problems. So this chemical that we're talking about here is so bad that Nick Kristof did a report on this recently, the New York Times, and he called this the lead of our generation. So I don't know how many of you guys remember, but a while back there used to be leaded and unleaded gasoline, and we learned through many studies later on that when there's leaded gasoline in the air and then the lead gets in the air and people breathe it in, that causes so many health problems. It is crazy how many health problems it causes. And not only that, it actually increased crime too, because it changed behavior. It made people more angry and more willing to lash out and be violent. So it was a horrible thing, and we had no idea for the longest time. We just thought, what? Leaded gasoline, yeah, what's the problem? We don't understand. It's fine, right? So they're talking about this new chemical compound as the lead of our generation. So stop and think about that. I don't know about you guys, but I use plenty of plastic-like products. You know, whether you're drinking a bottle of water and it was sitting in the sun for a while, so you don't know what the hell's getting in your water if it's sitting out there for a while, or whatever. But there are so many things so many times in modern society where we find ourselves using plastic products. Well, that's pretty bad, and not only is it leading to the embarrassing problem for a young generation of men that they have tiny penises, but it's also very, very serious health problems. So, yet again, I'll get on my soapbox about this. What's the answer? Regulation. Of course, what's likely happening? Whoever's part of the plastic companies, they're lobbying the politicians are looking the other way, or I'll be kind and say maybe they don't know about the problem yet in any serious way, or it needs more study. Whatever the case is, but the reality, in my opinion, is you gotta move on stuff like this fast. Whenever we drag our feet, we're doing a disservice, because there's got to be other ways to create plastic or other things we could use or do, and if there's even a slight question as to whether or not this is really causing the problems that the scientists are saying it's causing, act, get rid of it, do some sort of regulation. And libertarians, sorry to shit on you again here, but this is yet another example that shows how your ideology is wrong in many respects. When it comes to economics, when it comes to regulation, you guys say always leave it to the free market. If you leave it to the free market, what's going to happen? Generations of babies with tiny dicks, or guys with tiny dicks, and all different types of problems, including ADHD, endocrine-related cancers, asthma, obesity, possibly diabetes, you name it. This is what happens if you don't regulate the market, if you don't nip problems in the bud. So let's go ahead and do that and nip this problem in the bud.